Detroit is a breeding ground for musicians.
If you can make it in Detroit, you can make it anywhere.
A place where the children are raised to the soundtrack of those who came before them.
So all the young girls in Detroit, they wanted to emulate, they wanted to be like Aaliyah.
The city where Aaliyah Houghton was raised, right in this home on Warrington, on the city's west side. A simple home with something sensational going on inside.
She would come over to her Uncle Barry's house and I'd play the piano and she'd sit around. And so she's always called me Uncle Marvin.
Pastor Marvin Winans and his family are known throughout the world for their gospel singing. The pastor spotted Aaliyah's gift at a young age.
Some people you know right away. What you knew is that she had a love for music and that she was always intrigued by it.
Aaliyah was not only intrigued by music, but born into a musical family.
You know, kind of miss your shit.
Her uncle, Barry Hankerson, was a record producer and manager, married to Gladys Knight for a time period.
As she grew, I was so proud. I mean, it was really something for me not to sit back and say, you know, that's my niece.
At 10 years old, Aaliyah performed My Funny Valentine on Star Search, a national competition she would not win.
Stay, little Valentine, stay.
But that would not slow down the young performer.
And Aaliyah was one of the students in several of my dance classes. A lot of the movements you see in her videos are things that I taught her, and I'm proud to say that.
We sat down with Aaliyah's former dance teacher, Anthony Smith, in the Aaliyah Theater at the Detroit School of Arts.
Did you know she was going to be big?
I had that feeling. There's that je ne sais quoi, right? That certain something, that star quality about certain kids, and you're like, this one is going to do some things, right? She was one of those kids.
The theater, named after the school's famous student, as well as the artwork that decorates the school hallways, are visual monuments to honor the Detroiter, as well as a lure for the next generation of performers.
Well, even before they get to the theater, they know that this is the school where Aaliyah went and learned her craft and emerged the star that she is.
Everyone who's met her continued to say she was so sweet.
Oh, she was. Totally a good girl.
A good girl, one filled with determination to make it big.
Like, I would sometimes even pick her up from school for rehearsals, you know, and she would be getting out at 3. I'm like, I scoop her up, take her straight to the studio, then we would rehearse with her dancers and her band. So I handpicked her whole band, which was really all church musicians.
Kern Brantley was Aaliyah's music director.
My thing was just to keep the show fresh.
Tune Up Man, hanging out from now till 10 o'clock tonight.
Tune Up Man from The Bounce remembers Aaliyah when she was in high school and visited his radio studio promoting her music.
Once she got to the phones, on the phone lines, and was talking to the audience, she was so polished and so professional.
The radio personality still has the photo she autographed for him, writing, "Thank you for making me laugh."
She loved to laugh. She enjoyed life. So look here, Tune Up. And keep playing my songs. I'm gonna keep coming out with more, so get ready for me, and I'm gonna make you guys proud of me. And we were so proud of her.
Aaliyah made Detroit proud. Her sound was unlike any other.
Aaliyah did a couple of things really well, and I think one was that she combined this innocence with this sultriness, and the packaging together worked.
Kelly Carter is a senior entertainment writer at The Undefeated. She also was a Detroit Free Press reporter when Aaliyah was making her mark in the city and the country.
One of the first things that I wanted to do at the Free Press was tell the Aaliyah story. Then when you look at the entertainment landscape of Detroit, once Motown left the city, it felt like no one was looking to Detroit to contribute something musically. Like, it just wasn't a place that was happening. Rap music all of a sudden was becoming popular music. So the coasts were dominating that, you know, LA and New York, and then eventually the South came in, but no one was looking at what Detroit had to offer. So all of a sudden, there's this young teen girl who has this really hot song who is from Detroit.
It is your boy, the Bushman.
Bushman from 97.9 WJLB has been on Detroit airwaves since 1995.
You just get that vibe or that energy or that kind of know that when somebody's going to make it big or they're going to do big things. I think her voice just had a fun sound to it.
He remembers Aaliyah's visit to his studio.
So what do you remember about her from that visit?
I remember that's when she had the big jersey, and I wanted a big jersey, and I actually got her to sign a contract saying that I would get my jersey. I never got my jersey, but it's okay. But we had fun, we laughed, and she is just she was a practical joker, so she was real cool.
Her vibe extended from her voice to her look to what she wore. Aaliyah was a trendsetter.
Her look, her stilo, they call it swag, but we used to call it stilo back in the day. Her stilo, her whole aura was different. It was, we've not seen anything that good since Janet Jackson, you know. She was great. She just had stage presence. Her look, her style, the clothes that she wore, the baggy jeans, the bandana, you know, that mystique that she had about herself.
Her persona was more tomboyish, but she was definitely a girly girl.
Angie Elise was a backup singer for Aaliyah's world tour. She saw firsthand Aaliyah's hard work ethic. She also saw her playful side.
She was fun. She was very mature for her age, but also fun, of course. So she liked practical jokes. She liked to laugh.
I think sometimes people forget that.
She was 16. Yeah, she was very young, very mature, very ready for her stardom, very ready for that. But still a kid and liked to do kid things.
What did you learn from her as a singer and a performer?
How to sing airy, because she had a beautiful, beautiful falsetto.
Man, the voice was pure. I say she's an angel. Like, you know, when people say she was an angel, I really feel like that.
Marcus Devine was also part of Aaliyah's first tour.
We could be in rehearsal. As long as the dancers would dance and rehearse, she would dance and rehearse. When it was time to jump up on stage and sing, she never complained. The first city was Louisville, Kentucky. I'll never forget. And I was excited. I had toured before, but I was excited because she was the new artist. Everybody was going crazy, you know what I mean? So it was great, like just to be amongst that energy. She tackled the stage like she'd been doing it for 20 years.
There's no question Aaliyah impacted and influenced the sound for future artists, frequently called the princess of R&B and the queen of urban pop.
And you can still see when Missy Elliott performs, you can still see some Aaliyah in that performance, you know, from the costumes to the whole look of everything. I think she's inspired a lot of people. I think she inspired people like Sierra, for one instance. I could say that she is inspired by her. Destiny's Child.
Miss Aaliyah, how you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you again.
You too. She's just looking fabulous. What are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing Gucci shoes, Gucci. Got a little Indian jewelry wearing.
I do not think that Beyonce would be as successful as she was if she didn't have Aaliyah as a blueprint. It is difficult, quite frankly, to talk about Aaliyah right now and not talk about R. Kelly.
As the trial against R. Kelly begins this month, most discussions of the singer's alleged abuse start with his relationship with Aaliyah when she was 15 years old.
I think even now for me, it's hard to listen to some of those earlier records that R. Kelly would have written and produced for her.
Because it brings back
just some unpleasantness. And I think as a woman and as an adult woman, my heart breaks for the younger version of Aaliyah. You know, I think the idea of innocence being stolen is probably one of the most horrific things that a young woman can go through.
Aaliyah would break free from R. Kelly, later continuing full force with her career, collecting a slew of awards along the way.
So thank you so much.
She also broke into movies with Romeo Must Die.
That's right, I did. I don't know, I guess I was just trying to get back at you.
And Queen of the Damned, where she played the title role.
I've come to give you the world.
We can't deny, how much she loved making music, but she really wanted to penetrate the world of Hollywood. Like, for her, that was the next goal.
But before another Hollywood project, there would be a music video to record and a trip to the Bahamas. The ocean breezes and the tropical island seem to be the perfect choice for Aaliyah and her dancers to record her next music video.
She went to the Bahamas to film Rock the Boat. That was going to be her next album, or next track that she was releasing on that new album.
Aaliyah's boyfriend, Damon Dash, remembers how he didn't want his girlfriend to make that trip.
So the whole situation was terrible, could have been avoided to me. And, you know, it was just an example of her being humble and her just doing what she got to do to get things done.
I know you had mentioned before, if you were there, no one would have gotten on that plane.
Nah.
Talk to me about that.
I was trying to stop the whole video shoot, you know. I had felt like, you know, they were shooting in Miami and we was all down there and it was a hype video shoot and I know what hype does. And then I told her, I said, I bet you he's gonna say another day and then have y'all go someplace, spend a bunch of money and then have you in a messed up situation, in a bad plane, in a bad hotel.
That's exactly what happened. Aaliyah had finished shooting earlier than expected, and on the evening of August 25th, 2001, she and 8 others boarded a twin-engine Cessna. Within moments of takeoff from Marsh Harbor, the plane crashed near the runway. According to this FAA report, the airplane was seen lifting off the runway and then nose down, impacting in a marsh. The report went on to state the total gross weight of the airplane was substantially exceeded.
And I do not understand why someone did not speak up and say, this isn't worth it. We have to either be on a commercial grade jet or we have to split this up over 3 Cessnas. But we can't all be on this plane together. Not with all this luggage, not with all this baggage. We cannot do this.
But no one spoke up.
According to the FAA investigation, the pilot was not approved to act as pilot in command. The plane burst into flames. According to reports, Aaliyah was killed from severe burns and head trauma. All 9 people on board died.
I learned later, because I did have a couple of conversations with Aaliyah's mom in the aftermath of her death. One of the people on that plane was her mom's best male friend, who was kind of like a quasi-godfather of Aaliyah, and her mom was going to go on that trip with them, but she couldn't make it.
I was sitting on the couch when I got the phone call, and I sat there, I cried, and I was in disbelief.
I just remember going into my car and turning on the radio, and you can just hear the tributes that were going back to back. They were just playing her music on rotation.
The music world took a collective gasp.
I remember exactly where I was.
Marcus Devine was in his Detroit music studio when he got the news. The singer, songwriter, producer knew what he had to do to honor his friend.
I had 50 Detroit rappers at my studio the very next day.
They all joined together recording this song in Aaliyah's memory.
And Aaliyah,
We did it that Sunday. It was on the radio that Monday. It was just everybody want to show their love for her.
From the recording studio
Even mourning a loss of a jewel in the city of Detroit, we also need to take time to honor her.
to the streets of Detroit, Aaliyah fans showed their love and respect.
They held a very large vigil where thousands and thousands and thousands of people came out to celebrate Aaliyah near her old high school, Performing Arts, and really just let the world know that Detroit had Aaliyah first.
I just want to say, I just hope she rests in peace. I loved her. I'm a big fan of her.
She was such an inspiration to young black African American, especially females. For me, you know, I'm in high school, and her songs and everything just gave me a sense of inspiration in my life, and I just want to thank her for that.
I'm kind of getting chills thinking about it now because it really was a beautiful celebration of her life, Detroit style, and it felt like something that I think Aaliyah would have approved of.
Meantime, in New York, fans lined up to pay their respects to the hip-hop star, gone so young.
I have never done anything like this before, but this was just something that was so tragic. It was like, oh my goodness. You know, I just felt like I had to be here.
She's more than royalty for us.
Aaliyah's funeral was closed to the public, but that didn't stop fans from lining the streets as the singer's casket was brought to the church. A last goodbye, 22 doves released for the 22 years the singer lived.
I think her mom has never gotten over it, ever. I mean, it took her years just to go to her apartment to clean it out. I mean, I remember I was in Grand Rapids and Diane called me and she said, Marvin, pray for me. She said, because I can't, I just today went into the apartment and I can't do this.
I've got good friends, I've got a beautiful family, and I've got a career that's blossoming and still growing, and I am truly blessed, and I thank God for his blessings every single chance I get.
Aaliyah's death left fans, family, and others in the music industry wondering, what could have been?
I think about it all the time. Sometimes when I'm playing her songs on the radio now, I just have a moment, just reflect and say, hey, I'm thinking about you, Aaliyah. You know, I know her spirit is doing something right now because she's the kind of spirit that will last forever.
She could be, you know, considered a queen of her generation. I think she could have been anything she wanted to be.
People have compared her to, she could have been bigger than Beyonce.
Well, that possibility is there for sure. I think that she was on that trajectory for sure. She could have been, who knows?
She had just did Queen of the Damned, and I couldn't watch the movie at first. It took a long time for me to see the movie, but her acting skills, the sky was the limit. Really wasn't no limit, you know, to what she could have done.
Her impact is so strong. You see it in so many artists. You saw it almost immediately. And Missy has been very vocal over the years, talking about her friendship with Aaliyah and how much she misses her.
What was next for Aaliyah? She told many she wanted to continue to pursue her acting. And there was something else she had never done that was in the making.
Diane had called me and said that Aaliyah wanted to do a gospel album. I said, okay, just tell her to call me and we'll do it. And so we were making plans to do that. And matter of fact, Diane had scheduled time for her to come so we could spend time together and write and discuss what message she wanted to convey.
Pastor Winans and Aaliyah never had that meeting. There's no question. Aaliyah touched so many lives professionally as well as personally.
She just had a beautiful spirit. She sung sometime in the shop.
John Gooden was one of Aaliyah's hairstylists.
When you hear her music now, how does it make you feel?
Sometime I be kind of grieving sometime because I, you know, miss her. You know, I really do.
What do you miss most?
Her presence, being in her presence.
When I do sing, I sing her some of her songs, you know, to feel closer to her.
While Angie will never forget singing with Aaliyah on stage, she says it was Aaliyah's presence that was unlike anyone she had ever met.
And that's just what I remember about her, is that she was very humble, that, you know, when fans would come around, she was just really loving and humble toward them.
I didn't even know what In Love felt like or even existed until being with Aaliyah. She was the most talented thing going and intelligent. You know, there's lots of kinds of talent. She had a lot of kinds of talent. Her perspective on life was a talent alone.
We should literally right now be talking about how that album 20 years later still resonates. How she's had this brilliant career 20 years later and she still is making albums that are moving people to the crowd. We should be talking about that right now. But instead, we're mourning someone who we should not be mourning. And that truly, truly is one of the most tragic things about the Aaliyah story.
We knew she was an angel. We knew she was a sweet person, but I don't think the public really understand the impact and the imprint that she left on the music industry.
When you think about her name, what it symbolized, most high, exalted, the best. and she embodied those terms.
My family and I, we love the simple things.
A Detroit girl with a dream. Aaliyah not only made her star shine, but represented a city who adored her.
So the good die young. Ask yourself, why the good die young? You ask C-Dub, I think Aaliyah should have lived forever. Why take a tragedy to bring us together? Why we can't come together when we laughing and smiling? Tell your people that you love them, whether laughing or crying. Life is love, I tell y'all what's like to dove. Aaliyah, my big brother sitting right above.
Aaliyah, 1 in a million, 1 in a billion. God rest your soul, your spirit lives on. Think back and forth, no resolution while you gone. But you gon' stay up in it, Al, you gon' represent it. See, life is like a time clock. When God come and knock, we live for entertainment, y'all, but entertainment stops. I'm too tired of losing loved ones, misusing loved ones. Life involves rain, I'm waiting till the sun comes.
Baby girl.
Pain cutting like a knife, but I'ma keep it real. I hate doing tribute songs, but when you die, had to fight back tears and ask the Lord why.
Lord, why?
As I roam through the zone off this King Kong, I can't believe that Aaliyah is gone.
And what's your name?
Drunken Mass from the 313, straight riding for my homies in the D till we all free.
When I think of Aaliyah, I think of Alita. I feel pain, it's a shame. I never did meet her. She was always the one to say try again. Since my heart is shedding tears, I cry within it. See, pain is a virtue, we all a face. Sometimes I trip about this world, we call a place. I guess life is a lesson, more like a blessing. I know all 9 of y'all's up in heaven, ain't no guessing.
Alley life hit the studio because I'm concerned about life and music, yo, it's much to learn. Some folks can't see behind the bucks we earn. The real us overlooked in these cluttered terms. It's a bond beyond that, and we clutch it firm. We like family, living in our trade of choice. Must respect to a queen with an amazing voice.
What up, ma? I know you up in the sky and you shining too. For God and you, see it was perfect timing, boo. And I ain't mad, one day I'm gonna be shining too. But until then, I'm still gonna be grinding, boo. Stacking the chips, rolling in the fattest whips. You know how my life do it. Wouldn't change it up